It's Jason Lucas. Welcome to the No Flipping Excuses Show. We are live right now, and the main reason why we're live is we're celebrating our 100th episode, and I wanted to bring on my good friend and partner in crime that we're doing a lot of stuff on, Mr. Jason Palliser. Jason, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful. As you know, Jason, we talked about it. I'm in my RV right now. Got a brand new RV. Don't even know what to do with it yet, but I love working from it. It's like my mobile office. I come here every day. It's freaking amazing. And just got off a plane from Vegas, helping 400 investors just like everybody else here. So happy to be here on the 100th episode. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. No, I'm excited that you're here with us because for folks that don't know, we've been doing some really good stuff together. We're helping a lot of folks out with tax delinquent blueprint, which if you guys don't know what that is and want to find out more about it, definitely check out Jason's group, Wholesaling Houses Every Day. That's a great group, lots of great content in there, and highly encourage and recommend that you go and check that out. And, you know, I brought Jason on here. He's a returning guest, and I brought him on for the 100th episode because we are partnering and doing some amazing things in the real estate community, kind of disrupting things. And, you know, we wanted to talk everything wholesaling on this episode and really hold nothing back because this is our 100th episode. And like all the other episodes that we've had, we've not held anything back. We've always wanted to share as much as we can. So for those of you that don't know Jay or haven't listened to the episode that we did with him, you know, I've known him now for probably since 2013. So going on, you know, six, almost 7 years that I've known him. And he's always doing some amazing things in the community, from just sharing and giving and doing a lot of creative things. And that's really, Jason's a marketing genius when it comes to being able to tap into lead sources and being able to extract data and information from people that not everyone else can do. I was fortunate enough that he shared his tax delinquent blueprint strategy with me, and it's just blowing practically every other avenue that we're doing in our business from a response ratio. So it's incredible. So when I wanted him to come on for the 100th episode so we can just be sharing everything wholesaling. So Jay, I know you just got back from Vegas and you were talking at the Rich Dad conference and you had a booth there. Why don't we talk a little bit about, like, you just came back from that. How many people would you say were there that were wanting to learn the wholesaling business?
I would tell you that out of several hundred, probably 400 people, maybe somewhere in that ballpark, that 300 of the 400, you know, 3/4 of them, instead, 3/4 of them want to learn wholesale on top of any other strategy they're doing. And I always tell everybody the same thing, and you know this, Jason. If you get to everything first, then you keep the ones you want. I don't care if you want to rent, you want to flip, do all those things. But there's always somebody that will pay more than what you have a opportunity in front of you for. So why would you not, by process of elimination, wholesale those, which just fuels paying off your properties faster, making funding your flips easier. So wholesale is a no-brainer for somebody who's running a real machine.
Right. Absolutely. No, I agree with you, man. And, you know, the thing with the reason why I was asking you how many people were there is because there's always going to be people looking for strategies in real estate. And Jay and I know that real estate is one of the true wealth builders in the world. Like, if you look at most of the people in the world that, you know, are on that list of, you know, billionaire status or almost billionaire status, pretty much all of them have done something in real estate to get their start. And then it just opened up so many different avenues from there. But Jay, why would you say, like, wholesaling would probably be a really good fit for people just starting out? I want, yeah.
Yeah. So for people just starting out, and I'll expand on what you said on, billionaires and real estate. Agree 100%, and that's where a lot of them protect the wealth that they get. But
Many different
let's
avenues.
let's just dig a little deeper from the standpoint of this. Uh, I have 12 different incomes, and there's no greater income than you can get than in the real estate sandbox. I've tried, right? And $1 million businesses and other industries and stuff like that. But this is the best one. But then when you stack on top of that somebody getting started in wholesaling, there's no easier way to make chunks of money by doing your job well. If you have a plan put in place for yourself, that you can follow on a daily basis that produces results, then the byproduct for you in this sandbox, wholesaling specifically inside the entire investment sandbox, is the easiest way to make money. You don't need if you wholesale, you don't need to get a bank loan, no paycheck stubs, tax returns, W-2s, right? You don't have to be the one that goes to Home Depot or Lowe's. Folks, I love wholesale. It's probably 80% of what I do. I got the softest hands in America. So if you could feel them through the computer right now, it's because if you have a plan in place and you know how to get to everything first, which is what we do when we build out blueprints, which to suffocate cities 30 different ways. Most people know 5 or 6 in YouTube University and Facebook land, right? But if you could suffocate a city and get the opportunities first, that means you have the opportunity as well to wholesale property by writing a piece of paper and then selling that piece of paper to somebody in that area that will pay more for that. And you don't care what they do with it. You don't care if they flip it. You don't care if they rent it. And so for somebody getting started, so if you're just trying to get started, why not live in a world where you can put your hands together, crack your knuckles, have a good plan in place, and then go attack your market to get the good opportunities first. All you have to do if this is put together well for a beginner is map out a plan to get to everything first, go on the appointment, have somebody show you how to write a contract with several outs in it, and then someone teach you how to find all the people that want to pay cash for those contracts in your market. So you write a piece of paper, do your job on the front end, go on appointments, write a piece of paper, and sell the piece of paper for money. So somebody that's getting started, zero risk on your end. All you do is the big risk, if you're not doing it right, is wasting your time, right? As you know, Jason. So
Yeah.
So somebody gets started, that's why.
Yeah, and one of the things that I would tell folks too, from being careful and not wasting time, don't write offers on properties that you don't fully intend on executing on, because that could come back and definitely bite you in the butt on the flip side, because the attorney generals and the realtors, a lot of realtors, especially the ones that don't like wholesaling. Like I was talking to one the other day, they are just trying to find out as much as they can to try and complain to the attorney general, to try and do like what the state of Illinois has done, to where they don't allow assignment contracts anymore. And it's mainly from folks doing this where they will write up contract after contract and never close. So it's really important to know your numbers, and we'll talk about your numbers here in just a moment, because it is really important to know your numbers. Now, one of the things that with what Jay said is there's no exposure on here as long as you're doing things the right way. And what I always like to tell folks, Jay, and let me know what you think. From a wholesaling perspective, it's really important to have your cash buyers in place, because then you could find out exactly what they want, and then you could go out there to the marketplace and get it. And then you come back to them and say, hey, I've got this property. I've got it at X. Do you want to buy it at Y? And then at that point, you could put out the feels to see if anybody even wants the deal. Like, don't tell them like, hey, I've got this property on Mason Avenue. Don't give them the actual street number, but say, hey, got this property on Mason Avenue. It fits all the criteria that you've given to me. Would you like to proceed forward on this one if I can get it locked up? And just being able to have your cash buyers too, because I know when I first got started and I got a deal under contract, it was a probate deal. I was freaking out because I didn't have cash buyers and I wasn't super great at negotiations at that point yet. So I think I got it right around 40K. And I thought I could sell it for like 50, 55K. And I ended up not even being able to execute on the contract. I was so disappointed. But again, it comes with knowing your numbers and knowing your cash buyers. So what do you think about that, Jay? Like getting into wholesaling, it doesn't really take much experience at all. But from a starting out standpoint, do you think it's good for folks to have those cash buyers on their list so they know like what to look for?
Yeah, it streamlines. So it streamlines your execution. So one of the things that we do when we train people, I've trained 24,000 investors over the last 20 years. And when we put together whatever strategies that they're looking to do, we always introduce wholesale, because the ones you don't want to keep, you wholesale if you're just looking to wholesale to start out. But having said that, we always focus on getting cash buyers. Here's why. If you focus on the back end, that's where everybody freaks out. I hustled. I put some hustle in and I got a contract, and now I'm freaking out because I can't unload it. Well, you didn't do your job correctly. So we show people 9 different ways to find cash buyers in a marketplace. And out of those 9 different ways, you can start to fill up every zip code in the area you want to attack. And I always tell people a couple things about that. One, imagine a world where now, as you're running your front end, trying to get to everything first, writing contracts, that every time you go on an appointment, you can't even start your car without already knowing who wants it.
Yeah.
That's if you have all the cash buyers because you've worked hard on the back end part of it. If wholesaling is going to be a strategy, getting started, if you know what everybody wants in your city, I always tell everybody at that point, when you focus on that, it's a superpower. You have a superpower now. You can't even start your car without knowing who wants it, which is nice. It's fun to go on an appointment knowing who's already interested in that property. And then the second thing I'll say is that 9 different ways to find cash buyers. You can look up through the MLS or a realtor and find out who did all cash transactions, and then reach out to them, send postcards that say, do you want more houses? Chances are if they pay cash, they probably do. But one of the nastiest things that we teach people to do, where you can build up a arsenal of cash buyers overnight, is that your competitors do your job for you. So what you can do is just type in wholesale properties and then insert your city on Google, and you'll see a bunch of websites pop up, probably some of the big wholesalers in town. And here's what they do to make themselves feel good. On their websites, because now that you've Googled wholesale properties Detroit, wholesale properties Phoenix, on their website, they have a page that says sold, and they give you the property address. Well, they sold to a cash buyer. So guess what you can do? You can take the addresses that they put on their website, reach out, look up who bought it, and they're basically building your cash buyers list for you. And here's the cool part about that: the one who bought that house was the one that raised their hand and paid the most. See how easy it is? There's several ways to build your cash buyers list. Super important to do if you're looking wholesale. But your competitors make it easy by putting a sold page on their websites. So you might as well just send them a Christmas card or something.
That is true. I would say as well, just to kind of piggyback on that, a couple of huge ones that are free. Facebook. There's a ton of Facebook groups out there. I'll use Jay's as an example, the Wholesaling Houses Everyday group. You could go into that group and go and look at the members and start finding members that are within your area and start reaching out to them and see if they potentially want to do a JV. I know when I was first getting started, I had the cash buyers list, but I didn't have the inventory. So sometimes I would even, when I would be driving, I would see the bandit signs and I would call those folks and I would see if they would be interested in, doing JVs with each other and split deals 50-50. You could do something like that where you can reach out to folks and JV with individuals, especially if you don't have a huge marketing budget. because at that time when I was first getting started, I didn't have money to do a whole lot of direct mail. So that was something that I needed help with. So we've got Facebook. I just threw in a bonus with driving, and you see the bandit signs. They're all over the place. And also LinkedIn. LinkedIn is huge. You could go on LinkedIn like right this second and type in real estate investor, and there would literally be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that would pop up. And then the huge thing is you could take it down from a geographical standpoint. And the big thing that Jay and I are really huge on is expanding to different markets, right? So let's say you want to go into other markets. You could go on the LinkedIn and find other people in other markets. So you don't have to drive or go anywhere for this stuff. You could still do this stuff Jay said, go to the websites and stuff. That doesn't take much. You can literally be on a hut in Bora Bora on the ocean, and you could still be doing that stuff. It doesn't matter where you're at. Jay travels a lot. When we aren't in basketball and baseball season, we travel a lot, and we can literally do this business from anywhere as long as you've got a strong Wi-Fi connection and a laptop that you could do business from. You could do this from anywhere in the world. It's that simple. Now the next part that we wanted to talk about here is, why don't we talk about knowing numbers, Jay? Because there's so many people out there. You've been talking on stage now for years. I would love to hear from you. Like, what do you typically recommend to folks that are just getting started with knowing their numbers? I always like to be at anywhere between 65 to 80% of after repair value. And the reason why I have that 65 to 80% is because not all markets are created equally. So you're not going to be able to come into every single market and be at 65%. So I would love to kind of get your feedback and see how you approach these deals.
Yeah. So what I would tell everybody is this: we reverse engineer in any city, and we get hired to build out off-market blueprints for big companies that need 500, 1,000 homes in the city. And so we come in and drill down on the data super fast. So if you're new or getting started, just take this philosophy and reverse engineer it, and it will help you. Here's what's going to help you do. It's going to help you look at the things that your eyeballs should be on first every day, okay? Because it could be a better opportunity. So what we do is we tell everybody, you can get from any realtor in America in any city, so you can do this anywhere, in 60 seconds. And I'll just use 3 easy pieces of data when talking about drilling on numbers. You go to any realtor, we can drop a pen on the map and say Cleveland. And you can call up a realtor in Cleveland and say, hey, can you give me 2 areas that are good to invest in Cleveland? And can I get a quick piece of data from you? Oh, and by the way, whenever I flip a house, you can list it for me. You don't have to show me any houses. That's like a dream come true to a realtor.
Yeah.
Hey, I just need 1 minute of your time. And so here's what you're going to ask them. Can I get the median sales price? What's the median sales price for this area, which means half of the homes sell for that or more? It's a good number to know. Then you can say, hey, what bedroom count in this area sells the fastest? Okay, so maybe in that area it's 3 bedrooms. Certain areas of DC, it's 1 bedroom. Okay, so you need just to ask your realtor that, and then say, what's the average square footage? Once you know those 3 pieces, folks, if you approach this right, you can run like the wind. And so, yes, I like to be at 65 to 75% of the after repair value, and that's where you want to try and be all in. But to get those opportunities, you have to search well on the front end and find the good opportunities in several sandboxes. But the easy one is online real estate websites, Zillow, Craigslist, Matovo. There's tons of them, right? But you got to search right. So here's what I mean by that. Now that I know the median sales price in this area of Cleveland is 120, there's nothing stopping me on 16 different websites that when we build out blueprints for people, off-market, 2-day off-market blueprints, we already have waiting for them inside our operational map, a 10-second search on each website. Everyone listening right now could go on Craigslist, and if Cleveland was, hey, 3-bedroom in this area sells the fastest, average square footage is 1,000 square feet, and they said 120. Everyone right now, when this is done, could go straight to Craigslist, Cleveland, type in max sales price, 60,000, which is roughly half. And then 3-bedroom, because that one sells the fastest. We want the ones that fly off the shelves. And then the only thing I'll teach you here about drilling down on your numbers that's not black and white, because median sales price, search for half. Anything pops up, you want the appointment, okay? But if it's 1,000 square feet, I always tell everybody go down 20% in square footage to set that as your floor, and then go up about 30 to 35%, because that's the sweet spot. Most people end up paying roughly 120 in that area. They usually end up with a 3-bedroom, and on average, they have 1,000 square foot house. So going down to 800 up to 1,350, that's the cookie cutter. So why would you search like that? Here's why. If anything pops up, and you're not even from Cleveland, if anything pops up at 60 grand when most houses sell for 120 or more, with the right bedroom count, with that sweet spot square footage, do you even need to run comps? So everybody who's new here, you see that paralysis by analysis that you can eliminate if you run numbers well. So if somebody teaches you, take a median sales price in any city, chop it in half, search for the bedroom count that sells the fastest in that area first, so that you know that your eyeballs only hit the ones that fly off the shelves, and now you're in the regular square footage sweet spot. You can do a search every day just on Craigslist alone. If a judge hereby orders you to search every morning at 8 a.m. for 10 seconds by 60 grand, 3-bedroom, 800 to 1,300 square feet. Otherwise, you go to jail for 20 years. You would do it every day at 8 a.m. Okay, you would do it every day at 8 a.m. And here's what would happen. The first 7 days, there's no property that fall into that sandbox. On day 8, 2 properties pop up at half off what most people pay, 120 or more, right? So it's 60 grand or less. Don't you want that appointment? I bet you do. You're going to go there and find out how much work there is or isn't. I bet you're willing to beat everybody to that one. So then guess what? Another 7 days goes by, 8 days, 9 days, another one pops up, because the judge said you're going to jail if you don't search. Here's what most people do. They search just zip codes and try and find unicorn deals. They have no basis for what they're doing. So imagine a world where if you start to think about this correctly, and then I'm done talking about numbers, because you can run like the wind. So think about this. Imagine a world where you go on just Craigslist or Zillow every morning and search a 60 grand, 3-bedroom, 800 square feet to 1,350. When you get nothing, congratulations. You did your job. Move on. Go to your next strategy, your next one, and your next one, right? Which if somebody's teaching, they can teach you several ways to get to the good deals, right? But imagine a world where in 10 seconds flat on just three websites alone, in 30 seconds, you've done your job for the day. Anything pops up, boom, get the appointment.
No, that's huge, man. And that's a huge giveaway right there. And I'm glad that you did that, especially here on the 100th episode. And if you guys would like to hear more from Jay, make sure you check out his group here on Facebook, Wholesaling Houses Every Day. It's a great group, lots of great content. Head on over there and make sure you check it out after this episode is done. Or if you're listening to this later on iTunes, make sure you check it out. It's definitely a really great group to be part of. The one thing that I also wanted to discuss here is you kind of talked about this in the beginning, contracts. For folks that are just getting started, there's really only 3, and correct me if I'm wrong. And the third one is just kind of an if you potentially need it. You need a purchase and sales agreement that has really good language in it, which we have. And because a lot of folks nowadays, they don't like seeing the and or signs in the actual you being the buyer. So there's a really great way to get around that. And, we use that purchase and sales agreement. And then we also have an assignment contract. That's what we use. Those are the main 2. And then the third one that I was going to say is sometimes we use a JV contract. So if we're doing a 50-50 deal with the JV, or if we have a wholesaler that brings us a deal and they're like collecting a bird dog fee, then we still have that JV agreement in place. But we typically do 10%, maybe 15% to the bird dog on those cases. But those are normally the 3 documents that we use. And if you want to see more like of in-depth of me actually going through contracts, go to our YouTube channel. Just search Jason Lucchese, and you'll be able to find my YouTube channel there. And I just recently did a video, and I showed the documents. I showed you how to do them, and it's real in depth. We don't have a whole bunch of time to do that right now, so that's why I wanted to tell you about that. But Jay, was there any other documents that you would recommend that somebody might need in that case of doing their first wholesale?
No, those are the three that we have on hand, ready to go every single day. You don't have to complicate it any more than that. And think about this, folks. We're here because we like and enjoy helping people. We want people to be free. So what Jason is saying is absolutely true. You have a simple contract. Okay, you have an assignment contract based upon the type of deal you're doing, and then maybe a joint venture contract because you're working a deal together with someone else. If you complicate it any more than that, then at least feel good about the fact that when you look in the mirror, you can point and go, "You are the problem," right? So most people overcomplicate this, and we understand because especially if you're on here listening and you're new, okay. But imagine a world where if you reach out to the right people for help, we're here to help you. That Jason can write a contract for you in 60 seconds. Because I'm competitive, I can write it in 52 seconds. Right? And then he'll write it in 48 seconds. What I'm trying to get at is this. We've done it so many times that helping you listening here, when it gets down to, hey, I really do think I have a good deal. For you to reach out to either one of us and say, hey, look, I want to do this as a profession. I want to learn more. Teach me. Hey, but right out of the gate, I think I have a deal. Could you help me write this first contract? I know Jason would stop what he's doing when he gets a free moment and write that contract for you. I'll write that contract for you. People on his team would. So as long as you have the right contract in place and the right verbiage in them, because we want to write a contract that protects you, because maybe halfway through the deal something changes, right? So we show you how to do that. We have you get those three, and you can run like the wind for the next 15 years and make a lot of money.
You know, the other thing too, Jay, is I like to keep, and I know you like keeping things simple, is our purchase and sale agreement is literally 2 pages. That's it. Maybe 1.5 pages. And assignment contracts, 1 page. The JV contract is 1 page. Now, for folks out there that may not have, an attorney to review documents, you could always use your state-approved purchase and sales agreement through your local real estate board. Just have a realtor help you out with getting just a blank contract. But have it in most state-approved purchase and sales agreements. Jay, I don't know what it's like in Missouri and Florida, but ours in Indiana, and I know we do stuff in Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky. Those are between 8 to 9 pages long. So it could tend to have a seller freak out a little bit when they have to read that many pages of a document. Ours is really simple, straightforward. It's been approved and reviewed by our attorney, and it just makes things so much simpler when you can have shorter documents and still be completely protected. You need to have that protection for yourself as well. So I like having it simple like that.
Yeah, and so what I would say to that too, and it's all about 2 people coming to an agreement together, right? That's what we're talking about now. I'm putting it in writing. So what you can do is just a technique that we teach when we teach on the seller side and the appointment and getting the deal, getting everybody to agree and closing the deal, is that you make that homeowner feel comfortable. So whether it's an 8-page or 2-page, simpler the better. By I would say by almost hardcore rule, doing this for 20-something years. But what you do is you just add wrinkles like this to it. Say, hey, you know what? We just need to agree on a price and a date. We'll make things easy for you. And then what we'll do is we're going to send it to our title company or closing attorney, and they'll review it. And then we'll get an answer back from them same day saying, hey, everything looks good. If they say that they need something else, then we'll do that. So you're basically saying, hey, look, we'll send it over there. We'll get a thumbs up same day, so we both know that we're good. If there's anything else that's needed, they'll tell us, but typically they don't. And then that makes them feel comfortable on their end. But yeah, so I agree with, you don't want to lose a deal because all of a sudden you've got a 70-page contract and the seller's freaked out, and then you have an assassin like Jason here come in behind you and say, hey, here's nice, simple, easy. and he gets that cute little smile that he's got on right now, and then all of a sudden he closes the deal.
Oh man, that cute little smile. Nice. So here, before we wrap up, especially, I'm excited. This is a big milestone for us because we do like a release of the podcast once a week. Sometimes we'll do two, but getting up to 100 episodes is pretty big. And I'm thankful that we've gotten here. Mike obviously isn't here, so he's a big part of the show. The Myth, as most of you guys know, which I was joking around one day and gave him that name, and now it's kind of stuck after a couple of years of doing the show. But before we are wrapping this up here, and kind of, we'll have next week's episode up here. We've already got some good stuff ready for you. Jay, what would you say is like some team members that are needed for a wholesaler going out? For me, and you let me know what you think. I think realtor, JV wholesaler, title company, or an attorney. Now, for those that aren't in an attorney state, having an attorney as well. Now, do you need the attorney right off the bat? It's helpful, especially reviewing documents. But Jay, I don't want to elaborate too much, but what do you think from a team standpoint? Let's just say somebody's wanting to do this from a virtual standpoint. Who would you recommend?
So I would tell you that for me, it's number one is having a good investor-friendly title company or title attorney. So that is, I could do without all the other people that you mentioned. I agree with having those people, but I could do without all those as long as I have the closing, the title company or the closing title attorney. Then I can close transactions no matter what. The only one that I would add, on top of maybe having a realtor that can run some comps for you or help you out on contract stuff if needed, is a contractor. So sometimes before you get your end buyers to walk through the property, the deal may be good enough to where you're considering it yourself. Like you might consider to flip it. So just having a good contractor that can give you a bid really fast if needed. So that's one extra one that I would say that you might add to the mix. But the most critical one for me is the title company or closing attorney.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point too. What do you think from, having a GC, a general contractor, being able to maybe walk a couple of these properties that you are going to wholesale, and you could get not like a fully detailed bid, because they could get really detailed, but just like a general bid, and being able to give that to your cash buyers, like, hey, I already did this for you. Here's a bid from my contractor. Do you think that adds any validity and credibility to, hey, I know what I'm doing, and I already looked at this for you. If you want to use my guy, great. If not, you may have somebody already. But do you think being able to make things really easy for your end buyers is going to help get more deals closed?
Oh, yeah. And remember, you're going to post these opportunities in your local real estate Facebook groups for sure as well, on top of your list that you're developing. So that lends mega credibility. If instead of just saying, I got an opportunity on 123 Candy Lane, needs a little like 30 grand of work, if you say, hey, I got detailed bids available upon request from a licensed contractor, and you're more than happy to use them as well, that just lends you credibility. You're making their decision to buy into what you think the numbers are going to be a lot easier when you provide them with, here you go, on a platter. Here's all the things that need to be done, and here's a bid down to the nearest dollar. Yeah, helps by a mile. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is you could talk to that general contractor, because we have this come up every once in a while. Maybe give them $50 to come with you and just put together like just a simple one-page document of like what they would plan on doing and how much each cost would be. And then they don't need to make it like super detailed, because when I say super detailed, they'll literally put together like a 4-page document outlining everything that they're going to do. That's what a good GC will do. Now, they could charge you $50, or you could say, hey, if you get the business from the person that I'm going to be sending, we'll just, you'll get your money that way. So there's definitely ways that you can get around being able to have a general contractor come with you. Now, the first maybe couple of times, yeah, they'll probably want $50, $75 to do that for you. Or you could write up a JV agreement with them that states that they receive, I don't know, 1%, 3%, 5% of the net profits. That's obviously pretty generous, but it really just depends on you. And this business, as you'll start to get to know, or if you've already been doing the business for a while, it's about relationships. And once you really screw a relationship over, it's really hard to get that relationship back. So I would, do whatever you can to make folks happy. And you're obviously doing business the right way. So with that being said, Jay, do you have any final words for folks that are listening to our 100th episode right now that you would like to share with them before we wrap up?
Sure. Yeah. So I would say this, whether you're just getting started, whether you're looking to build a rental portfolio and get some cash flow, so that you live the life that you want, whether it's, hey, I'm getting started right now. I want to deposit a bunch of checks and start with some wholesaling, whether you want to do some fix and flips, all those things have details. So all we would tell you to do is understand that this is the most incredible sandbox to play in to create wealth, as Jason mentioned earlier. And I've been on an eternal search to find something better, and I can't. Okay. So I've been doing this for 20 years, training so many people. And what I would tell you is that have a very deliberate plan of attack. Don't just wake up and start looking for stuff and then it's 2:00 and nothing's happened. Literally map out what your daily and weekly plan of attack going to look like, because it'll increase the chances of you succeeding. And ask people for help. We live in a world where you can ask people for help. You can ask Jason. You can ask me. And it's silly. It's silly to sit there and go, you know what? I'm going to elbow grease this myself, and then find yourself frustrated 4 months later. We don't want you to start the year and find yourself in April with no deals closed. Right. So just find people that you can work with, that can show you, that have been there, done that, and then take what they set in place for you, and then just do your job without overthinking it. Overthinking is the biggest thing. 20 years speaking for all these TV shows, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all these places. Overthinking is the number one thing that I see. Just like this past weekend, speaking in Vegas, people overthinking. And then in a 2-minute conversation with someone like you, Jason, or someone like me, we get them unstuck. Right?
Yeah.
So reach out we're real human beings. You can reach out to us. It's okay. We will answer your questions. We will help you. We have things in place to help you drive a spike in your market. All you have to do is ask and say, hey, show us how it's done. So the biggest thing for me that helped me was asking for help and then waking up with a real plan of attack. So that's what I would tell everybody.
No, that's huge, man. Like I would say 9 out of every 10 people that are getting started create mental roadblocks for themselves. And most of them don't know how to get unstuck. So yeah, we're here. We're available. I have up on the screen right now. If you want to check out Jay's group, Wholesaling Houses Every Day, make sure you go there, because you could literally post your question. Jason is really good with responding. If I'm in there, I'll respond to your question. It's a great community to be part of. And I really, really enjoy it. There's a lot of great groups out there, and Jay's is really good. There's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of activity, and just a lot of people being able to share and help out. So Wholesaling Houses Every Day, make sure you head over there. And if you do need the help, just ask. We'll be more than happy to help you out with that. So other than that, I really enjoy that we were able to get through our 100th episode. I know we went a little bit longer than anticipated, but we just wanted to share a lot on this 100th episode. Jay, I really appreciate you coming on today's show, my man. Like always, you always deliver a ton of great content. And yeah, I really appreciate it, man. And for those of you that are on right now, if you need anything whatsoever, I'll put this up on the screen. It's support@jasonluchese.com. And you can submit questions over there. So let me type this up on the screen here. And there it is. It's rolling down. So You submit questions to support@jasonluchese.com. And that's SUPPORT, the @ JASONLUCCHESI.com. But other than that, thanks for coming on today's episode, and we will see you guys on next week's. Take care. Have a great day. Bye now.
See you later, folks. Bye.